So normally it's really, really good because it's not every day I get to talk to a world champion. I mean, a TNT Extreme World Champion. Is there anything else? How else would you sum yourself up?
Well, also the Rumble Nations champion, multiple times. So Big Daddy champ, as they like to say, um, hold multiple titles this past year. And obviously, as everybody knows, the man that you see when you go to Google, type in the greatest professional wrestler to ever walk planet Earth. Tateness is greatness. Live in flesh through the internet. Yours truly, Tate Mayfairs.
Of course, we've got loads to talk about. We're going to be talking him beating up Simon Miller. We're going to be talking his match against obviously Scotty Rawk at Tidal, which I will be there in person, so I'm looking forward to that. And just how his 2023's been. But first, intern, let's roll that intro.
So, not bad, bud. That's a decent little intro you got there.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. But of course, it's not about me today. It's about you. So I imagine you're going to be happy about this.
I'm always happy. And when is it ever not about me?
So for the greatness, or Tateness, his greatness, how's the week been?
It's been a great week. It's been busy, man. I just, we had an eventful, last week was very eventful. I had 3 table matches, one after the other, after the other, after the other, and then into the monumental, perhaps match of the year, street fight against Simon Miller at Progress Wrestling Unboxing, which I sold out entirely on my own. You're welcome. So that is a lot to get through, like physically and emotionally. I had a party, obviously, for New Year's. I'm nursing a few cuts and bruises and injuries, but all is well. And this week, as we specifically asked for, it's back in the gym. It's back to the drawing board, marking out and figuring out how to outdo myself yet again in another monumental year.
Absolutely. So what? It's been a busy one, obviously, as work as always. And do you know what? This day, I've had it marked down specifically, and I'm like, I cannot wait to talk to Tateness, his greatness.
It's not uncommon. It's a normal thing. I'm sure you've been getting the jitters. I'm sure you've been telling all your friends. You probably had like a nervous poo before you came on. Probably spent the night before rolling around in bed, struggling to get to sleep, thinking of how excited you'd be. Here's your moment. Don't screw it up. So
I can confirm nor deny what you've just said.
I know as much. I've done this a few times. I know what you guys are like.
So you mentioned obviously Simon Miller. I mean, let's obviously start with that. I mean, you guys have had an unbelievable feud last year. I mean, I remember obviously you were attacking him in Sheffield. I was there, and wow, I mean, absolutely brutal, man. I mean, talk about obviously this overall. I mean, how did it all start?
Dude, it didn't even like this dude. This has gone on for years. I don't know if you saw some of the videos that went back and forth. The video package that went out over December. This thing between me and Simon has gone on truly for years. The first time I met him, I don't know. You know, some people you just rub up the wrong way and you don't get along too great. I personally don't like the fact that he's so popular in wrestling for having an opinion on wrestling, for being a pundit and that, and feels like, it has its place, it makes money, it does its rounds, but it surely does not warrant you being in the ring. Like, having muscles is one thing, but you know what, as everyone says, that a barbell don't fight back. I've been a fighter my whole life. My family are fighters, and I've been in the wrestling business for a long, long, long time. Anyway, when me and Simon met, we didn't get along, and that's about 5 years ago. And we've fought up and down the country on multiple occasions. We were actually meant to have a no DQ match in 2020, which got called off because of lockdown stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even before that, we had what was called a Falls Count Somewhere match. Essentially, it's a Falls Count Anywhere match, but only the referee knew where it was. So it took a long time to figure out where it was, which is a whole nother deal. We ended up in Weatherspoons to culminate that match. But before that, we had fought on the beach. He had thrown me in the back of a car, and all kinds of things, man. Like, people don't truly understand how much bad blood and how far back the whole history of me and Simon goes, and actually how real it is. Like, there's been incidents for real backstage at Progress that they've had to deal with and contend with. I'm sick of fighting him, and I was promised that there'd be one last time, and we did finally get to it. And I think it's safe to say 3-0, and after the bloody beating I put him through, it's done for good, finally.
Yeah, so I was basically saying Simon Miller's obviously in the background now. You're going to move forward in Progress.
Obviously, I mean, I've never been given a world title opportunity. I've never been given a single title opportunity. Tag, Proteus, even though I beat the champ. Women's, who cares? No one's given me a title shot at Progress, even though my win-loss record at Progress, I've only lost, last year I only lost 2 singles matches against Will Ospreay and Leon Slater. And both of those are kind of questionable. Like, I think I should have won them both anyway, as it was. But yeah, I've never been given a title match, never been given a title opportunity. This month, January, at the end of the month, I'm in a Thunder Bastard, which I guess could lead to the thing at the end of it is being able to have that opportunity to go for the title. It's a little bit disrespectful that I have to go in there with all of these other people. I think I've more than earned my share and my right to claim for the title, but here we are, nevertheless, always being undervalued, underappreciated, and quite frankly, the victim of some very rude and heinous comments and attacks by the public, to be able.
And I imagine that builds up a lot of frustration with you. Do you know what I mean? When you're obviously in the ring.
Of course it does. And then people blame me for being they say I'm the bad guy because I'm violent. No, this is a violent sport. This is a violent sport. It's called professional wrestling. I don't know if you've flipping fucking watched anything that's ever happened in the history of this thing, right? But it's like MMA, right? We can use all kind of fighting styles, but it's not just that. You can fall out the ring, you can climb up the turnbuckle and jump off it. Often, as you saw last week, you can use weapons. This is a fucking violent world. And forgive me for being violent. I'm good at this. I'm so sorry. And yes, you're right. I am pushed to my limits and to the end of my tether by the way that everyone treats me.
And that kind of leads me into our perfect segue there, because you've got obviously the TNT Extreme World Champion behind you there. I mean, what's that like for you?
I am the TNT Extreme World Champion. Behind me is the TNT Extreme World Heavyweight Championship. Now, what was your question?
What's it like being the champion at TNT?
I mean, it's natural. Like, what's it like for water to fall from the sky? What's it like for grass to grow from the ground? That's a stupid ass question. I am the champ. You're right. It's also, look at this belt. It's honestly one of the most, I think it's the most beautiful belt in all of professional wrestling. Absolutely. Look at how beautiful it is. And look at that, the blood stain on the world, just like I'm going to do with this reign. Stain the world with blood. Oh, it's a beautiful belt, and it's an absolute privilege to hold. The lineage on this championship is unprecedented. Gunther, JD McDonough, Joseph Connors, the list, Mark Haskins, the list, Dan Maloney, who wrestled at Wrestle Kingdom last night, shout out to him. The list goes on and on. This is one of the most prestigious championships and most beautiful championships in the world, and when it's held by the greatest, good Lord. Let me add something else for you, brother.
Okay.
Let me add something else for you. In the last 12 months, yeah, how many times has the AEW World Heavyweight Championship been defended outside of America?
Other than All In, but that's probably the only one I remember.
Once?
Yeah.
How many times has the Progress Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship been defended outside of the United Kingdom?
Not to where I can recall.
Nah, not even outside of England. How many times has the Rev Pro World Heavyweight Championship been defended outside of the United Kingdom?
Again, I can't think. This is really putting me on the spot.
It's really kind of awkward, isn't it? Because the uncomfortable truth is this World Heavyweight Championship in the last 12 months has been defended 3 times internationally. Fourth, later this month when I go to France to Richie Catch Pro Wrestling and defend it once again there. This is the #1 World Heavyweight Championship in the world. Furthermore, I have 1 single match against Spike Trevay. Do you know what that record is? Do you know who won that match?
It's got to be you, surely.
It was me. Do you know what? I've wrestled Michael Oku 1 time. Do you know who won that match?
It's Tate Mayfairs.
It was me. I am the real World Heavyweight Champion. I am the king of the United Kingdom. And soon, when I beat Spike Trevay or whoever's holding the championship, I will become the Progress Wrestling Champion too, and undeniably the undisputed World Heavyweight Champion. Now, tell me when I'm telling lies, please.
I don't eat no lies at all. All I'm hearing is facts.
No lies, bro. The world hates greatness. They do. It just makes people feel uncomfortable. They'd rather me be a loser, just like you.
Anyway, so moving on. So, speaking of world titles, you're going for one next week, I believe. It's Tidal Wrestling.
Absolutely. Tidal Wrestling. There he is, Scotty Dork. Where he's got a lighthouse on his chest, looking out for the danger. The danger's right next to him. It's the greatest professional wrestler to ever walk planet Earth. Where is this thing held? It's somewhere up north where I don't like it. They got no fucking nice restaurants up there. Where is it? Huddersfield?
It is Huddersfield, yes. And I'm going to be there.
Honestly. Have you been to this venue before?
I have not.
One of my least favorite venues, promotions and crowds to work for. It's disgusting. It's vile. Often there's not hand soap in the back. Luckily, I'm a classy man. I bring hand soap in my gear, in my box, my bag. Yeah, the fans are drunks. They have no respect. Nor does the management. I hate that company. I hate Huddersfield. I won't say I hate Scotty Rawk. I have a complicated history with Scotty Rawk, which we can get into. But ultimately, yeah, another world championship. And to add to my collection.
Wow, I mean, is this the first time you've faced Scotty, or is this like a few times you've faced him?
It's not the first time I faced Scotty. I actually faced Scotty at TNT not last year, the year before, and that was the first time that I ever faced him. Following that, we actually teamed together last year. We around the All-In weekend, Hooked on Wrestling. They do lots of events for like watch-along parties all around the country. They put a really big deal. You should check them out if you're a wrestling fan. They have like these events for big WWE pay-per-views all around the country. But they put on their own wrestling show on the All-In weekend, and they had a tag tournament, and we had our tag partners randomly selected each round within this tournament. So if you won one round, you get advanced to the next round, and in the next round, you randomly selected another tag partner who had also advanced. Bit complicated, but me and Scotty drew each other both times, so we got through to both rounds, both as each other's tag partners, and I felt like we were starting to get along the right page following what had happened the year prior.
Mm-hmm.
But then he fucked it up. He ruined it. He lost he caused us the match. And we got into a little bit there and a little bit backstage. Nothing major, but we did get into it a little bit, and he had a busted open lip. And he looked like a little bitch, and he cried like a little bitch. And I haven't seen or spoke to him since, but I will see and speak to him, like you say, on January 14th, when I take his championship from him. Once again, it seems like 2022, 2023, 2024, every time we meet and share a ring together, I make Scotty Dork more relevant. He's welcome. But I will make him more relevant. But one thing I will not make him is the reigning defending title wrestling champion, because when the night's over, that one's coming home with me. Unlike the girls of Huddersfield, because you're all buzz.
Is it safe to say that this match with Scotty is a little bit personal?
I don't know. Is it fair to say personal when I've experienced so many things like Simon? Like, in comparison to Simon, it really doesn't feel as personal, but I don't like Scotty. You know, I don't like him. I don't like what he represents. He made some big, passionate speech about this is for the freaks and the weirdos. Shut up, you loser. Honestly, why would you want to celebrate that? That's embarrassing.
Be sure to check it out, guys, at Tidal Wrestling next week, obviously in Huddersfield. And yes, I've got my pick. I'm not going to say this, but Tate, my money's on you, my friend. It's got to be you've got to pick greatness, right?
Smart money. You'll be able to renovate the house with that stuff, brother.
There we go. There we go. So obviously, I want to move a few steps back. I was obviously looking through your history and NXT UK. You did some stuff in NXT. How did it all come to be that you went to NXT?
How did what?
NXT UK.
What about it?
How did it all come about? Obviously, you go in there.
Yeah, well, I'm one of the hottest free agents in the world. Like, obviously, they've reached out. It's fucking dumb. What a stupid question. I worked there for like 6 months. It was brilliant. I only stopped working there because they stopped the NXT UK television programming. Since then, I have done some work with WWE. But and I feel like I have a good relationship with them. I'm still up for working with them, but I'm very much enjoying having complete control, having full hands on the reins and direction of my ship and where I'm going. It's beautiful. And I think since NXT UK, well, it's obvious my career has continued to skyrocket further and further and further. As big as that was for me, it really wasn't like the pinnacle of my career and what I was going to go on to do. Like, I've continued to succeed that, which is a credit to myself. I will say this, like I said before, they're a wonderful company to work for, and it was lots of fun, and I was welcomed with open arms when I came in and treated very well. They are the pinnacle of how you should treat talent and run a wrestling company. And no one else is really quite in the same ballpark, but there is beauty and credit and fulfillment and money to be made when you take everything into your own hands also. So it was beautiful, man. I have nothing but fond memories.
Absolutely. So I ask a lot of wrestlers this, and I'm just curious to get your answers. You mentioned obviously lockdown. How did it affect you? Obviously, with wrestling and obviously in training and stuff.
Oh, lockdown. Yeah. Well, look. One of the reasons, truly, I say take this as greatness, and I mean it with my whole heart and body, and it's obvious in everything that I do and how I present in every aspect of the business. Just look at me, bruv. Another way that you can highlight that is looking back and talking about lockdown. In lockdown, a lot of people, rightfully so, understandably so, got scared. They shut down. They stopped working, and I didn't. Where I see I want to say failure, but where other people see a stop sign, I see a diversion. I was aware, yes, there was many. I had a nice momentum myself going. I was really good momentum rolling in early 2020. I was even picked by a lot of people to be my breakout year. It's never a good time for a worldwide lockdown to come, especially for me where I was at that point in my career as well. But there's two things you can do. You can either cry and moan about it and play why me, or you can be greatness, and you can figure out another way around and how to make the best of the situation. So I did. I got in the best shape of my life. I improved my branding. I improved my media skills, and I learned Japanese. And I invested in even more money and made even more money in this time period. I was getting up at 4 a.m. and doing fasted cardio, inspiring the world. And I came out of it. I also, like, once we could start getting open and getting going, I had a little unit where I had a ring, and I would be training in there, where we were able to train with 1 or 2 people, and again got even better at at technical wrestling, at ring agility, at wrestling. All in all, I improved tenfold when everyone else declined, because I am greatness. And I don't mean, I know it sounds bad. People go, oh yeah, like I am shitting on people a little bit. I am rubbing it in, but this is the difference. This is the difference. This is why the cream rises to the top.
There you go. I think that's a nice little
And
thing.
you should
So
be inspired. You should be inspired. If you don't inspired and you're jealous, it's because you're not good. And you should really look at yourself. You don't hate me. You hate yourself.
so I've just thought of a question, obviously, as we're talking there. So this is obviously we're going out globally. So this is going to like hit people in the US. Why should people go check out Tate Mayfairs from other countries?
I mean, it doesn't matter where you're from. Obviously, you should check me out. I just kind of tapped on it. Like, I am the greatest. I am the greatest. And that covers wrestling, but it also covers being a man. It covers being a human being. If you love wrestling, then you love me. If you love technical wrestling, you love me. If you love brawling, you love me. If you love agility-based wrestling, you love me. If you love the promos and the conversations and the selling points and the branding, you love me. If you don't even care about wrestling and you just care about style, you love me. If you care about good hair, you love me. If you care about jewelry, you love me. If you care about aftershave, you love me. If you care about just a positive mindset, you love me. If you care about achieving the greatest, about positive motivational mindset, about winner mentality, you love me. And if you don't love me, you hate yourself.
There you go, guys. So I want us to shift focus a little bit more. And obviously, last week, the world in the UK was kind of shocked with obviously the sudden passing of obviously Mad Kurt. Now, obviously, I saw some of your tweets. I've seen a lot of his work. I was never fortunate to see him in person, but what's some of your memories when it comes to Kurt?
He was a sweetheart. Yeah, he was a sweetheart, man. I loved Kurt. I loved Kurt very much. I wouldn't say I was like his closest boy, his tightest friend. There's certainly other people in the locker room that had that more so. But I always got along with Kurt very much. So yeah, like I never had a dull moment with him. I never had a conversation where I didn't laugh out loud and enjoy myself. And I have loads of like good fond memories, but sometimes when you recount them and you weren't there, it doesn't quite like carry the same. So some of them I'm just gonna keep with me. For me. Yeah, honestly, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know sometimes the best things to say. I did some nice tributes. I had his name on that day that we found out. I had a table match, and I had his name on my wrist tape. And we the people who are close with and spoke with, we shared memories and spoke about it, and there was like a bonding and closeness around that. We've all and I've definitely considered that the people who I love and keep dear, like, to take more photographs and check in on people more and just spend better quality time with people and stuff. So yeah, I did share one memory. So I will share publicly. So I will share that as well, which was that I remember him cutting him having to do a promo. It was either for Attack or Schadenfreude and Friends, but it was at a Schadenfreude and Friends show, like before doors, and Brooks wanted him to do a promo, and he was like, I know, how about I do it on my head? So then he did this handstand whilst cutting a promo, and he kept like, they needed like another take and another take and another take, and they were ribbing him a little bit, and then he was intentionally messing takes, but it was honestly about half an hour. The guy did a handstand and cut a promo while all the blood rushing to his head, his eyes were going red. Just that's a funny little memory that I'm able to just share with you all. That I don't know, I remember it fondly. I was in stitches whilst it was happening.
Half an hour. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, he had some breaks, but yeah, the fact he was so intent on, like, he was like, they were like, you don't need to do this, Kurt. Like, we can just do it. He was like, no, I got him. I was like, all right, here he goes again.
That's incredible. That's incredible. So, just a couple of generic questions now. Is there a different approach for you when, say, you're going from TNT to like Progress, or is it the same? Tateness is greatness. I'm just going to do what I want to do.
Is the approach different?
When you go for, yeah, so if you're going for, like, say, if you're working for TNT, is the approach for you the same, or is it like going to Progress?
Is the approach the same when I go to a TNT show compared to when I go to a Progress show?
Correct.
One thing's the travel. I live in West London, right? So it's an easier travel in. I can just turn up when, like, with a lot less. I can have a lot more of a luxury morning and a prep before I get there. Whereas TNT is a long drive, and I don't really like to stay in Liverpool too long either. So I don't tend to get there the day before for that one, and often I'm working the day before as well, somewhere else in the country. So many times I've gone to TNT, I've gone on like 2 hours sleep because I've wrestled in Bristol the night before, come back to London, etc. So I'd say that's the main thing. The other thing, it just feels like there's more bodies backstage in management roles at Progress, which can be good and bad. Like in the sense that there's more bits and pieces and people to refer to and talk to, which is different in that regard. Whereas Jay Apter runs the ship at TNT, which again has its own things. But in terms of preparations, like outside of the travel and the like dealings on the sort of office back end thing, there's not much difference. When you get in the ring, you get in the ring. Like I wear, I put on my gear. I have my warm up, match ready rituals. And when I get in, no matter where I walk out, all the fans are rude to me. The facility's always good. We're always treated well by both companies. When I get out there, it's just another dude across the ring from me who is jealous of me. I'm surrounded by people who are jealous of me. Referees giving me a harder time than anyone else. But it's fighting, and the beautiful thing about fighting is it's meditative. Some people panic, when they fight. And that's kind of what I was saying about Simon Miller. You're not a fighter, not like me, not like that. And there is a bunch of them. Trust me, there's a bunch of them. They're in professional wrestling, but they're not professional fighters. Let me tell you. When you fight, and you're about it, you live in a flow state, and that's why I'm so cocky and confident and have fun out there. It's beautiful. I love it. Nothing is different. I'm the greatest.
There you go. So you've obviously worked for TNT, Progress, NXT UK, which we've spoke about. Is there any promotions which is on your bucket list you'd like to work with?
Yeah, there's definitely UK, for as far as UK is concerned, OTT, ICW, and North are like definitely on my radar, for sure. If Andy Corden's got the money and Michael Oku's got the nuts, then I'll happily go over there and give him a hiding again. As far as Europe's concerned, Bodyzoy is definitely on my list. Out there, I really want to check that out. I want to go out of France, Europe a lot, and I've got a lot more plans to defend this world title out there beyond January. Richie Catch, and let's just say I have some contacts and conversations happening in Japan and America right now regarding this year. So yeah, I've already worked for GCW one time or twice now. And I plan to be out there and see what kind of mischief I can stir up once again.
There we go. There you go. What about talent-wise? Obviously, you've worked with some really big names. Will Ospreay, that's probably only the big one, Rest and Roll. Back to the side. But is there any other talent who you've not worked with you'd like to work with?
I beat Fandango last month, by the way, on November.
But he's not on the tier level.
That seems to have flown under the radar. No one mentioned the guy who beat Chris Jericho in his debut at WrestleMania. I beat him last month. But anyway, yeah, I've wrestled everyone, to be honest with you. Been at this a long time. I've wrestled at a high level for a long time. Look, I like it. I get it. Why people make these dream lists of opponents. I think it's cute. I know that I'm on the top of a lot of people's. But to be honest with you, I'm not a mark. I'm a professional wrestler, and I am the greatest. You know what I mean? And it's just a matter of time until everyone finds that out. I love wrestling, don't get me wrong, but I love money a hell of a lot more. And for me, it's not necessarily the person across the ring. It's more about the cash in my bank account and like the championships that may come with it. And moreover, the city that I get to visit, that's why I'm not really that bothered about Tidal and Huddersfield, because it's such a dirty little town. Whereas when I went to Dubai and won the championship of Dubai, that was a lot more fun because Dubai is a beautiful country, a beautiful place in the world, rather. It's not a country, is it? But a beautiful place in the world. So I really enjoyed that. Now, having said that, got that disclaimer out of the way, I did have a little think, and I'll look at the thing, and I think that some interesting big money matchups would be, and things that would tickle my fancy, be Matt Cardona, Speedball Mike Bailey again. Now, but I've wrestled him. He was my tag partner one time, and I wrestled against him in a singles match one time. But it was a long time ago. It was like 2019, and a lot has changed since then. So I really want to revisit that match. So Matt Cardona, Speedball Mike Bailey. We saw. I don't know when you're putting this out, but like
it's live now.
It's live right now.
Yes.
Great. All right. Well, everyone just saw that Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth, got stuck his paddle in the water at Wrestle Kingdom, and I put it out there, and it seemed to got a big response. People want to see Mayfairs versus Nemeth, so I'm interested in that too. And I feel like an old school kickback would be RVD before he hangs up them boots for good. And a little personal thing that would tickle my fancy I want to wrestle La Parka from WCW, who's now under LA Park for the longest time. That's my list.
There you go. There you go. So, being the greatest, obviously UK talent on the scene right now, I'm putting that as my disclaimer. Do you get the chance to watch other talent, or are you thinking, now, what's the point?
I watch. Yeah, I watch. I don't watch everything because, quite frankly, I've got better things to do. But when I'm at a show, if once I'm done, around the time of me preparing, for battle and going out there and like coming down from having been in competition. Yeah, I watch. I see what's going on. I look at what they're all doing.
What about outside that? What about Europe-wise? Obviously, AEW, WWE, you know, stuff like that. Do you watch stuff like that?
Bro, look, I'm busy. I make money. I get laid. I eat nice restaurants. I see some of the clips that happen on Twitter and stuff like that. Like occasionally, I might stick on some wrestling while I'm having some food in the house. But I don't watch wrestling. I'm not a loser. Come on.
So a few little more questions also as we begin to wind down. Now I've got to say 2023, you were probably the UK #1 talent right now. I'm calling it 2023. Tate Mayfairs were probably the best in the UK. There, I've said it. But what's next for 2024? You mentioned a few things. Is there anything else you want to do?
I don't like to let everybody know the moves that are happening. It's just a smart part of war. Like when you understand the art of war and combat, then you learn a few things. So I'm not going to let everyone know everything. I've disclosed enough information. This championship is going to be defended around the world. It's a world championship. It's literally up there at the top of the industry as one of the only legitimate world championships. I've taken over the UK. There's a couple more places there to stop and say hello. I'm certainly once again spreading the wings and flying further abroad. America, Japan, mainland Europe. Watch out. The Mayfairs is coming with the TNT World Heavyweight Championship, soon to be undisputed World Heavyweight Championship, tied with the Progress title. And that's as much as I will say for now.
There you go. There you go. He's keeping his cards close to his chest. I absolutely love this. So, Tate, obviously, it's been great to talk to you. One little final thing is there anything you want to plug? Anything you want?
I'll tell you what it is. TateMayfairs.com. Get all your nice, fresh merchandise. There is some gear that I'm going to be putting up for sale. Ring-worn gear that I've seen me on TV at the WWE wear, and it's some of my historical moments in wrestling as well. Patreon, Tate Mayfairs. All the links are on my. If you go to my Twitter, and then on there you have like a little link tree, and all the links are there to check it out and get involved. There's gonna be some more streaming in the new year as well. So the Mayfairs Lounge, everyone who on there knows what's happening there. There's 101 ways to connect and get close to greatness, and if you don't, you're just denying yourself of a good life. You clearly are going to live a life of squalor. So, whilst I'm here on planet Earth, it's very this doesn't happen often. Once in a millennia, a man like me comes along and shows you all the way of greatness. It's happened before. And you know what happens every single time? They try and kill them. Yeah, I'm still alive, and I happen to be real hard to kill. I happen to be the world heavyweight champion, and I happen to be taking over the world, and it's happening right here, right now. You're witnessing it. Take advantage of it while it's here. Get connected and follow the path to greatness. You're welcome.
There we go. There you go. Now, on this show, what we normally do at the end is we like to do motivational speeches, and now I can't think of a guy who can be as motivational as you are. So I'm going to let you do the outro. You can say whatever you want to people. Give them some motivation. Do you know what I mean? Because some Tate motivation.
First of all, I think it's disrespectful to ask me to do that. Like this, like it's like something you could just buy and get. Like, no, I've been here. I'm existing. The very fact that I exist is motivational. I've told you how to connect with me and how to get close to me and how to be great like me. Be like the Mayfairs. And if you don't, then that's on you. I can't save you all. I have tried, but you're all very fucking rude, to be honest with you. So, like I've said before, get on board. Get down on a knee, bow your head, and confess that Tateness is greatness. And if you don't, if it hurts you, if it bothers you, then don't lie to yourself. You don't hate Tate. You hate yourself. Woohoo!
And on that note, thanks for watching, guys.